Here's a great story that should make Americans incredibly jealous. Germany just gave everybody free college. They used to have that before 2006, and then in 2006 they decided, or I should say a court decided, that fees and loans are acceptable to charge individual students. But it was wildly unpopular when they did that. So one by one, each German state dropped it. And they went back to the system where there are no tuition fees. So as of today, tuition fees are totally abolished. Gonzo. But get this, quote, compared to American students, Germans barely had to pay for undergraduate study even before tuition fees were abolished. Semester fees averaged around $630, and students were entitled to many perks, such as cheap and often free transportation within and between cities. Now, what we're dealing with in the U.S., to compare, we have collectively $1.2 trillion in student loan debt. And that debt is a special kind of debt because you're not allowed to default on it and go through bankruptcy like you are with all the other forms of debt. In fact, this is the second highest form of consumer debt in the country, is student loan debt. Look at the difference between these two countries. One just decided casually, nonchalant, like, hey guys, this whole making people pay to go to college is kind of fucked up, isn't it? Because think about it. Only wealthy families can really afford it. Other ones need to go in debt. And then when they go in debt and they graduate, it's not a guarantee that they're going to get a job so they can pay back the debt. It's kind of like making these poor kids take out some sort of a car loan or a mortgage or something before they get out into the real world. That may be fundamentally unfair. And in the U.S., we're like, okay, how can we raise the interest rates on the students? I'm not kidding. Even under Democratic administrations, the rates slowly rise because the banks have to get their cut. Isn't that amazing that students have to pay a higher borrowing rate than the banks do when the government loans money? I've never heard a more open and obvious and blatant fact that shows that they're rubbing in our face that they don't give a fuck about us. They don't care about the average person. They don't care about a poor person, a middle-class person. I mean, this country is structured in a way that gives all of the favor to the already well-off. If it's multinational corporations, if it's Wall Street, if it's people that have political connections, if it's the 1%, well, they can get favor from the government and they can get the welfare state all day long. But in terms of welfare for shit that makes sense, like healthcare, like schooling, like daycare, nowhere to be found. The government is long gone in that situation. It's the great Martin Luther King Jr. quote. What did he say? I think it was, in America we have socialism for the rich and rugged capitalism for the poor. But it may even be worse than that, because it's not even just capitalism. It's not even just we're pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. It's they're digging a fucking hole, putting us in the hole, and then they say, all right, climb your way to the top, and then maybe I'll give you some bootstraps. When you're structuring a society and you want it to be successful and you want it to make sense and you want to create prosperity for everybody, here's what you do. You take the tax dollars, you take the revenue we raised and the funds, and you put certain things off the table. So one of those things is healthcare. I mean, it's a done conversation. It's over in the rest of the modern world that it's a right of citizenship. It's a right. If you get sick, you should get help. End of discussion. You shouldn't go bankrupt. In the U.S., the number one cause of bankruptcy is medical bills. Stunning fact. Stunning fact. But that's the point. The point is that should be off the table, funded by tax dollars. Instead of all this money going in subsidies to Walmart and Wall Street and to defense contractors, forget that. Reallocate the funds, give everybody universal health care, and universal education, including college, and let's follow the rest of the modern world.